24 years ago, the world was blessed with the mighty The Sims, a simulation game where you can be and do anything you want. Whether that's exploring the masochistic nature of capitalism, or simply cosplaying as Casey Anthony in an attempt to speedrun an appearance on Dr. Phil. Now, it's easy to say that over 2 decades and several thousands of dollars in expansions later, The Sims has changed immensely from a simple life simulation game to whatever this is. Since I was the workforce appropriate age of 3 when this game originally came out, I never got to experience it. Instead, I found my Sims roots in The Sims 2 on the family computer and The Sims 2 Castaway on the PS2. That's why today, I'll be heading back in time to a simpler, but certainly more difficult version of The Sims that I've never gotten a chance to enjoy. Before we do that though, I wanted to give a quick shout out to my YouTuber friend Ambiguous Amphibian for reigniting my love for The Sims and giving me the inspiration for this challenge. For the rest of the video, we'll be following a gentleman by the name of Some Man Purds, your average everyday Sim who I'm just now realizing looks kind of like Michael Bolton from Office Space. We'll start on an empty plot of land with a whopping 0 simoleons in our bank account and strive to become rich beyond our wildest desires. Well, 2000 Sims rich, pre-simflation and $40 DLCs. Honestly, since I'm writing this intro before recording, I have no idea what's considered a lot of money in the OG Sims, so my goal is to simply see if I can even survive the 0 simoleon start, having never attempted it on The Sims 1 before. I figure it'll be hard, but I've tried to keep myself relatively spoiler-free aside from knowing about the genie lamps and all that. With that though, let's get into it. Right off the bat, there's no cheat to set your money to $0. At least that I'm aware of, so I just bought a bunch of Squidward statues and threw them in the corner of my property. Then spent the rest of my cash terraforming the land. This is our plot. All we've got to our name is the clothes on our back, and this fancy newspaper. Now, I wrote down a few ways to make money in the game, but they all require things like a building to live in and, basic necessities. First things first, let's get a job. I am running the complete edition of The Sims 1, so I have the option to find an agent, but I'm not really trying to do that right now. While exploring my empty lot, I looked over in the corner and found a magical starter kit crammed under a tree. Apparently, you can learn spells and do magic shit, but again, not really interested in anything like that at the moment. See, kids, before our fancy pants phones and flying space scooters, we had this thing called a newspaper. God, don't ever let me become a boomer. But yeah, you get a newspaper every day, and there's a random selection of jobs for you to choose from. So I went ahead and became a politician, since it was the only job available, and because the best way to make millions is to land myself in DC, where I'm free to commit massive amounts of insider trading. There's dogs in The Sims 1? I thought those didn't come until The Sims 2. This is awesome. So, unlike The Sims 4, there isn't really all that much to do on day 1. I can't forage for frogs and plants, and I can't buy anything, so I'm just kinda stuck with being teased by Tiffany, and playing with the stray pets on my property. Oh god, they're like homeless people. You pet one of them and the whole population starts showing up at... Well, I was gonna say at your front door, but we don't have one. Wait, am I homeless? Oh no. This ended up continuing all night as my needs deteriorated. It turns out the only thing keeping Some Man going at this point is all of the stray animals he's accumulating. He's like the 2000 Sims version of the Crazy Cat Lady, or the Pigeon Lady from Home Alone 2. Oh lovely, no one's gonna talk to him at work now, he's gonna be that weird dude who smells like piss. Also, a skunk moved in. After waking up the following morning, we got in a good hour of screaming like a lunatic before the carpool arrived. Check out this hot rod. After getting home from work with our first paycheck, I tried to buy some necessities, only to realize I was still too broke. So I bought a catering table and filled that with food. Also, the carpool car is just bugged, so it's sitting there honking at me with the Old Man Jenkins Horn of Doom. And Some Man just refuses to grab a plate of food, so I ended up losing over 100 simoleons just trying to feed him. I'm not sure if this will break the game or not, but I just enabled the Move Objects cheat and deleted the car because if I have to sit here and listen to the horn for the next 12 hours, I'll blow my brains out. With the 120 simoleons I've got left, I purchased a landline and tried to order a pizza, only to be told I don't have enough money, which I call bullshit. How is 30 simoleons not enough for a pizza? Tell that to Domino's. Since that didn't work, I bought a chair for 70 simoleons and had some man start reading the newspaper on it to raise his fun and comfort, before ultimately passing out on the floor. This right here is all a man needs. This is the height of luxury, if you ask me. Anyway, he just sat here for like 5 hours until heading off to work. Now, I can't afford a refrigerator yet, but I can afford to purchase a grill. Two things here. First, I have 1 simoleon left to my name, but I finally have some food. And 2, the carpool vehicle is getting stuck on these stray animals, and that's why he's spamming his horn. This dude lacks all form of nutrition, is near death from starvation, hates hamburgers, and just dropped it to piss himself. What a man. Also, who the f*** hates cheeseburgers? And why do you even care? You just went 2 full days without eating. You'd think any type of food wouldn't matter, but apparently we're raising a stuck-up bitch who's entitled to only the finest of culinary arts. Luckily, I was able to sell the grill and chair and use those funds to purchase a cot to sleep on. Though that didn't stop the madman from crashing on the floor next to the dumpster again. Apparently, some man's work performance is dismal and flashing, meaning he's either about to fail upwards or end up on a PIP list. Alright, so he hates grilling out, but everyone likes pizza, and I've got over 100 simoleons, which is more than the 40 needed for a delivery. You know what? I feel this. How the f*** do I have 377 simoleons in bills? What could possibly be so expensive? I don't even have power. It's just grass, and some Harry Potter merch, and a cot. Well, the pizza delivery man never showed up, which was lovely. After getting back from another day at work, I had enough to purchase this low-end fridge that only holds bags of chips for some reason, so I just started shotgunning Lay's into my mouth like my life depended on it. After eating like 6 party-sized bags of chips, I sold the fridge back and bought a sink to work on my hygiene. Since I can't afford a shower yet, this is the best I've got to work with. So for the next few hours, I'm just going to be washing my hands over and over until I'm clean. Once that was addressed, I sold the sink, bought a wall, and attached a toilet to it so I don't have to worry about pissing myself anymore. It looks like our work performance is slightly increasing. Instead of dismal, we're now up to poor, which I guess is a start? And we are starting to find our footing here. After work today, I bought another phone to try ordering a pizza again. I also bought a small black and white TV that you'd probably find in a home in Pakistan, along with another chair to help boost my fun. I take it back, this is the height of luxury. I'm pretty sure this is exactly how Boogie2988 lives right now, but if that's the standard here, we're in for a sad, sad life. The next 2 days were much the same. I went to work, came home, and watched TV, just trying to keep my needs under control. When I got home from work this time, I had enough cash to purchase a sink and order a pizza, which means for the first time since I started, I should be able to go to work tomorrow with most of my needs met. I had this thing for less than 4 hours, and the fucking sink broke. Ladies, what you don't understand is this is all part of the building and repairing process. We need to yell and throw things. I mean, come on, have you ever built IKEA furniture before? It sucks. I've gone ahead and purchased an easel so I can start painting and hopefully sell those for some extra cash on the side. Oh god, there's a furry convention in town. You know what? It kind of looks like the bear in that bedroom scene from The Shining. Either way, why? Once that thing left, I played with the local strays some more to cope with the fact that I don't have any friends, before inevitably crying myself to sleep. Oh lovely. I don't know if this was a threat, or local nutjob got my phone number, but either way, I think I need to buy a gun. Anyway, since the easel wasn't working out, I sold that and the sink, then used the paycheck from the day to purchase my first shower. The next morning, I ordered a pizza for breakfast to get my day started on the right foot. Look at this absolute unit, El Bandito. Just a full-on chonker. We've moved up in work performance all the way up to average, which is right where we need to be. No need to overachieve when we can skate by on mediocrity. Poor some man Purds. He's just been so depressed lately. You might even say he looks quite down with his big fat eyes and his big fat frown. Someone should tell him the world doesn't have to be so gray. Maybe if he just put a banana in his ear, all of his troubles would go away. Anyway, with that 15-year-old dated reference out of the way, we paid one of our sets of bills and went to bed. I'm not sure how many days it took, but I repeated the same process of going to work, ordering pizzas, and watching TV to not go insane. It was a slow process, and after several days, I'd made minimal gains. I was, however, able to purchase another easel and start painting after getting my mood up above the crabby bitch tier. This works great for me since I can sell the paintings for some extra cash, and it'll also give me a chance to start working on my creativity skill. While there may not be 20 plus skills like in The Sims 4, the OG Sims has 6 skills to build, being cooking, mechanical, charisma, body, logic, and creativity. As it turns out, taking care of your mental health actually translates to your work. Who would have guessed? As such, some man has been promoted to intern. In order to get our next promotion, we'll need to work on our charisma a bit. I also received a small bonus for my promotion, but got way too ahead of myself and started building a box to live in before realizing I still had bills to pay and ended up having to sledge down half of the box just to avoid getting all my shit stolen by Dr. Doofenshmirtz. I even started turning a profit on my paintings, selling one for a whopping 3 simoleons. On the rare occasion where I could get my shit together every 2 to 3 days, I'd find a few moments to work on my charisma skill, which I need to hit level 2 on to get another promotion. Now, fortunately for me, I didn't have to grind any of that out, and ended up getting super lucky when I managed to hit it off at a work event, which leveled up my charisma twice, bringing me to level 3. Now that I'm starting to earn some decent cash, and my bills are paid, I went ahead and upgraded my bed. My old cot was at Comfort 6 and Energy 7, but this bed is Comfort 7 and Energy 8, so it should at least be slightly more noticeable in my needs. I also noticed that a flamingo for 12 simoleons gives +2 to the room, so I spent the rest of my money on those, so I'm not always at 0 when I look around. As of now, it's sitting in the green, which is huge for us. The only downside with that is that I don't have enough cash to order a pizza with, so I guess we're going to bed hungry. And after all of that, my fucking game crashed, undoing about 3 hours of progress, demoting me back to my starter job, and reducing all of my skills back to 0. So if you're wondering why everything feels slightly off, that's why. I tried to replace everything I'd lost, but obviously I don't remember how the build looked, so this is what you're getting. Oh, and I also got promoted again for just showing up to work, so that was cool. Now, since this isn't like The Sims 4, where you can't just make millions from shoving frogs into your pockets and breeding them, we have to take a more conventional, office space-inspired approach. We can simply no-show to work on some days to focus on skill grinding. The cheeky move that was recommended to me was also to quit my job after getting to the point where you need to make friends. This is because you can quit and start back at the level 1 career for any job, which then continues to pay you the bonuses for getting promoted. It also gets you out of that whole talking to people and making friends predicament, which, let's be real, if we're playing The Sims 1, we didn't have to worry about to begin with. On the bright side, we've got a fridge now, which means we can make food for like 10 simoleons instead of spending 40 on a pizza every day. Whenever work became a little too stressful, we could take a day off and pull an Alice in Wonderland, jumping through a hole in the ground that pops you out into Skid Row. Here you can do some pretty cool things like eat stale movie theater popcorn, participate in the duel pits against various homeless, and even play mini golf. After a hard day's work of beating up the local homeless population, I went to work, came back and finished building the first room of the house. It's nothing special, but it's larger than a studio apartment in New York for about 10% of the cost, so I'll take it. With that, the political life just isn't for me, so I quit my job as a political servant and accepted a position as a playground monitor. Not sure why overalls are considered appropriate attire for a playground monitor, but I ain't gonna judge. When some man got home from his first day at the new job, he found his phone ringing. Answering it revealed that our game design that we'd submitted netted us 1,000 simoleons. On top of that, apparently he was busy submitting tuna casserole recipes, which won him an additional 700 simoleons. To capitalize on the shocking influx of cash, I upgraded the refrigerator, bought a new TV, installed some hardwood flooring, and purchased a Gargoyle workbench. Oh, and I also sold the shower and bought a bathtub since it helps with comfort. The only problem with all this is that the fridge I bought only has snacks. I don't know why this was such a big trend in The Sims 1, but it's weird and I don't like it. I've now been bamboozled twice by the same mechanic. With that though, I started making gargoyles in my backyard like any other totally sane person would do. I managed to level up my mechanical skill twice before completing my work, selling the finished gargoyle for a whopping 2 simoleons. The next day, I sold a second gargoyle for 5 simoleons. It may not be much now, but I'm hoping to see a larger profit margin as we level the mechanical skills some more. On top of that, you can make a gargoyle incredibly fast, so if I can start earning a few hundred simoleons from these, I can make like 5 or 6 in one run and turn a huge profit. After a few days of watching kids from my rickety old car, I was promoted to a substitute teacher. An exciting boost, but the highlight of the day was definitely realizing that I now work until 1 PM instead of 3. I do need to level up cooking at least once though for my next promotion, and I'm not gaining any XP from making salads. To capitalize on a great day, I subsequently quit my job as a teacher and became a psychic, beginning my first shift just hours after finishing my first day as a substitute teacher. Since I work during the evening, I now have all day to work on expanding my gargoyle collection. When I finally decided to sell them, it looks like they're going for around 10 to 12 simoleons per statue. Not bad considering that's how much it costs for a meal at the moment. Most of those were made at mechanical skill level 3 as well, so in just this new batch, they're selling for 16 to 18, and it's almost worth it to just quit my job at this point and make statues for a living. I have no idea who's even buying these. I'd imagine they just sit at like a Stein's garden and gift shop for the rest of their days until some random edgelord purchased one, let alone 100. Since I'm only making 100 simoleons per day for my job, I figured I could spend my time better keeping my needs and focusing on my passion. Gargoyles, which is just a roundabout way of me saying I was canned for taking a few days off. Now that I'm doing this full time though, I spent a few hundred simoleons on expanding the house a bit so I could fit everything inside. If all my needs are taken care of, I can typically finish about 5 gargoyles per session. In this run, I made 5 and almost finished a 6th. Selling the completed ones for about 130 simoleons, meaning I'm making more from 2 hours of work here than I did in 6 hours as a psychic. I've also found that I'm getting tired really quickly, so I bought a coffee pot. Now, not only am I a small business owner, but I can also make my entire personality the fact that I too drink coffee. Only if I could get used to drinking it black, I'd be the coolest person in my friend group of cats and dogs. After loading up on enough caffeine to give a fat kid a heart attack, it was back to work on my gargoyle collection, selling 6 more at 27 to 28 simoleons a pop. The next morning, I met Mama. No, not that scary demon chick who lives in a cabin in the woods. I mean this Mama, the one with the bright robe and pink slippers. Nice lady. Oh god, I didn't realize The Sims takes place in Alabama. Now, funny enough, talking with her barely raises your social need, but playing with cats gives me all the socialization I need to not climb into an oven. I love that the skunk's name is Henry LeStank. I don't know why, but it was hilarious to me. You know those people who peaked in high school? Maybe they played for the baseball or football team and now play in a rec league and take it just a little too seriously? Well, I imagine this is a perfect representation of what their room looks like at their parents' house. Just decked out in pendants from what they could have won if they would have went pro if it wasn't for their bum knee. The best part is that the pendants stay up even when I remove the walls from view, so you're just permanently stuck looking at them. Anyway, this is what a standard day looks like at the moment. I'm making a little over 300 simoleons per run, and I've still got 4 levels to go, so hopefully we can get up to close to 1,000 per day. After spending 2 full days doing nothing but making gargoyles, I cashed in, walking away with over 900 simoleons. With that influx, I purchased an oven so that I could hopefully start leveling my cooking a bit. No idea what I'll do with it, but I imagine it couldn't hurt. I also sold my old bed and bought this fancy one for 1,000 simoleons. It's another step up in both comfort and energy, so I'm hoping I'll stop passing out every few hours. Naturally, within a day of purchasing an oven, I set the whole fucking house on fire. Luckily for my neighbors, I have none, so they didn't have to worry. With that debacle out of the way, it was back to littering my house with creepy statues. When I wasn't burning the house down or scaring off the local residents, I was purchasing things like this Amish wheel to make thread with. I know I could have gone the genie route here, but that's already been done, so I'm just exploring different ways to make cash in the game without just typing in Rosebud 100 times. God, this is so sadly embarrassing. That being said, the golden thread does sell for over 100 simoleons, which is nuts. Compare that to the gargoyles though, and I'm making almost 70 per statue, which I can make several of in the time it takes to spin some thread. Meaning gargoyles are still the way to go for cash right now. Well, another day, another fire. Only this time, I wasn't able to extinguish it. The worst part is the Grim Reaper came in to just laugh at me while I burned alive. Well, some man Purds may be gone, but his memory will live on through this lot. Never mind, it's all burning down too. If only we'd invested in some fire alarms. Not that I wanted to, but since there's literally nothing left to do, I guess we'll call it here. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bummed out. Was really excited to start snowballing and had plans to build this epic mansion, but it's kinda hard to do that when you store your silverware in the oven. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm going through a big Sims kick at the moment, so next up I'm looking at going back to The Sims 2 and The Sims 2 Castaway to replay those for a few challenges and skill grinds. So if that's interesting to you, you might as well sub, so that those videos will pop up for you whenever I get around to them. With that though, I'm gonna get out of here. As always, I appreciate you all, stay safe, and thanks for stopping by.